How many times has someone made you upset, angry, broken your heart, disappointed you, or made you feel unloved or unworthy? You might say that it happens all the time, but I'm going to tell you something radically different, something which you might find difficult to accept. The truth is that no one has ever done that to you, ever. Now, I'm not denying your feelings. I'm not suggesting that your feelings aren't real and that they aren't valid in and of themselves. We've all felt these things from time to time, and they're certainly real and they're certainly deeply uncomfortable. But what I'm suggesting to you is that no one can make you feel any particular way. That is, no one else is ultimately responsible for your feelings apart from you. If this is hard to hear, I understand. But if you want to be happy in life, if you want to feel deeply loved, if you want to take back your power and stop being a victim, then this is where we have to start. You have to start by taking responsibility for your own emotions. The truth is that no one has the power to hurt us emotionally unless we hand that power over to them. In truth, they don't really have that power at all. It's really just an illusion, a projection of our own mind. What occurs within us, within our own minds, is purely our own making. When we're upset because of something someone said or did, that feeling arises from within us. It's a reaction to their behavior, but it isn't them who put that feeling there. They're not the one who has created it. We simply project that feeling onto them as if it were coming from them. And often we go through life constantly disappointed by others, constantly offended, feeling manipulated, feeling judged and distressed. We're constantly the victim of other people's opinions, neglect, and abuse. But wouldn't it be great if we could go through life not giving a shit about what other people think, not allowing others to disturb our sense of peace, unaffected by their rudeness and refusing to allow them to treat us with disrespect? Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people out there who are rude and inconsiderate, selfish, mean, and ill-tempered. But how they affect our mood is determined by whether we take their words and actions personally, how we interpret them, how much we allow them to affect us. When someone is mean to us, we generally react by feeling sad or angry, but our anger is our own reaction. We have to take responsibility for that. We have to understand that ultimately we have a choice. We can react any number of ways. We can be angry or we can let it roll right off of us. And that choice is up to you. And it all begins with how you interpret the situation. We often take these things very personally, but we need to consider what may be going on with the other person. Why are they angry? Why are they rude? Why are they mean? Is it really about you? Or is there something going on in them that we're failing to take notice of? If we can understand that someone who is truly happy is incapable of being mean, then we also have to understand that someone who is mean is deeply unhappy. This doesn't mean that you have to tolerate their behavior. You don't even have to associate with that person at all. But you can learn to have compassion, because if you become angry, then you take on that same level of unhappiness and you perpetuate the cycle. By simply understanding why others behave the way they do, we see that it really has little or nothing at all to do with us, and we can let go of the need to react. We don't have to know exactly what it is that's causing them to be this way, but simply to understand that for some reason they just aren't happy, and that their external behavior is rooted in that unhappiness. If we can understand that, then how can we be upset with them? How can we be upset with someone for being unhappy? When you truly understand that they're hurting inside, you'll naturally begin to feel compassion. And this is the same in all circumstances. If someone is judgmental, understand that their judgments have little or nothing to do with you, but rather with their own sense of insecurity or a lack of self-worth and confidence. They're only judging others to distract themselves from their own negative self-judgments. If a person is inconsiderate, neglectful, unloving, know that all of this arises from a sense of feeling unloved and neglected. So it's really not about you. It's about their own internal wounds. And so there's really no need to take it personally. And when you begin to see things from this perspective, you find that when others are being unkind, you actually feel a sense of compassion toward them, because you understand that deep down they're hurting. In some cases, you may be able to comfort them. You may be able to reconcile and console them. Or you may simply have to walk away, to ignore them, to not associate with them. In some cases, you may be able to firmly but compassionately put them in their place. Really, the way that you respond is going to be different depending on the situation. But what's important is that you take your own power back. And that gives you the power to respond in whatever way is most healthy for you. And once you begin doing this, you'll feel all the more empowered. You'll find that with each of these conflicts, that you're more easily able to stand up for yourself or to simply walk away without having your emotional state disturbed. We have to understand that everyone is ultimately responsible for their own emotions. So let the other person wallow in whatever they're feeling if that's where they're at that moment. You really have no control over that. You have no control over what they're feeling. And in turn, they have no control over how you feel either. But guess who does? You. You are the only one who has any control over what you feel. And it's only because you haven't stepped into your power that you think others have that power over you. As long as you believe that you're a helpless victim, you'll always be a victim. But as soon as you take back your power, you will realize that you never have to be a victim ever again. When you take responsibility for your own emotions, this doesn't mean you have to go on feeling unhappy with no one to blame but yourself. What it means is that you have a choice. You realize that you don't have to be unhappy. You don't have to react in a negative way. You can choose peace. You can choose happiness instead. Because it doesn't matter what anyone else says or what anyone else thinks of you. All that matters is what you believe about yourself. As long as we're dependent upon others to make us feel happy, to feel loved, to feel secure and comforted, we're going to find ourselves disappointed time and time again. But as soon as we begin to cultivate these qualities within ourselves, independent of others, we can then begin to maintain them indefinitely despite what's going on around us. If we build our house on sand, the rain can come and wash it all away. But if you build your house on a solid foundation, the storms come, the winds blow, the earth shakes, and the house remains standing. The house is your self-image. It's the way you see yourself. It's your sense of worth. If you make that state of mind dependent upon others, it's going to crumble. But if you build it on the foundation of self-love, based upon your independent recognition of your value, based upon emotional independence, then no one can destroy that.